are done with like software development life cycle. Okay, so software life cycle is nothing but you can go ahead and know like who all are working in a project and what they are doing, right? So that is nothing but software development life cycle. Okay, then software testing life cycle. Now coming to software testing life cycle. So what do you understand by software testing life cycle?
It's the process from
it is a step-by-step process. It is a step-by-step process which we are following to complete testing activities in a project. Which we are following to complete the testing activities in a project. So altogether we have 12 different phases available in software testing lifecycle. We have phases available in software testing lifecycle. What are they?
test initiation,
Test plan, identify test scenarios, then identify the testable requirements, then test case design, test data preparation, okay, then test case execution in testing environment, then defects, then test case execution in UAT environment, then defects, okay, and then regression testing, and then test closure. Okay, so these are all the 12 different phases that we have in software testing. Okay, these are all the 12 different phases that we have in software testing life cycle. Now, first one is a test initiation. So, what do you understand by test initiation?
test initiation basically is the starting of the test.
Yes. So, this is the first phase in software testing life cycle. Okay, 1 second. So it is the first phase in software testing life cycle. So once the project has been confirmed between the client and the company, the project manager for testing will get the confirmation from the higher level management or not? Once
Yes.
has been confirmed between the client and the company, the project manager for testing will get the confirmation from the higher level management that the project has been confirmed. So once the project manager gets the confirmation, the project manager will try to analyze the scope of the project. They will try to analyze the scope of the project and they will try to form recruiting the resources. Okay, they will try to form recruiting the resources. So project manager is recruiting the resources in two different ways. What are they?
I am not sure.
Internal recruitment and external.
So basically he's hiring people.
Yes, internal recruitment and external recruitment. Yes, basically it is people. So internal recruitment means recruiting the resources from within the company. Within the company, recruiting the resources from within the company. So let's say you are working for a Deloitte project. So Deloitte has so many different projects. Am I right? Let's say you are done with one project. So what you'll do, you will try to go ahead and go for another project. But once you do the project, you will sit idle. But the client will not, or your project manager will not allow you to go ahead and sit idle in a project. They will not allow you to go ahead and sit idle in a project. So what they will try to do? they will try to go ahead and assign you to the company. That means whatever the like what do you say? Whatever the projects you have within the project only, you will try to assign. So recruiting the resources from within the company is called internal recruitment.
Okay, I have one question. So, the initial phase of SDLC, testers don't do much. So, at that time, they don't sit idle. They do testing for other projects.
No, you will be working for one project. If that project is finished, they will try to assign you to some other project immediately.
Okay, so testers, they don't do simultaneously more than one project at a time.
They can do. It depends on the client. Like project will assign you to 2 projects, then you will do like you will be working on 2 projects, 4 hours for one project and another 4 hours for another project.
Okay.
Okay, so that is internal recruitment. External recruitment means recruiting the resources from other companies. Recruiting the resources from other companies. Other companies means
Outside the company, so they can hire someone who
like
work
posting the job
in the same
requirements in
company.
different job portals like Dice, Career Builder, Monster. So this all comes under external recruitment. So recruiting the resources from other companies is called external recruitment. So once the project manager recruits the resources based on the scope and complexity, client will be dividing the work into multiple projects. Based on the scope and complexity, client will be dividing the work into multiple projects, and project manager for testing will get the confirmation, and they will try to assign the recruited resources to the projects. How? Based on your experience, designation, and skill sets.
Okay.
Based on your experience, designation, and skill sets. Okay? Yeah. Now, coming to your test plan. See, based on your experience means like if you have like 2 years of experience, they'll give you a small task. If you have like 8 years of experience, they'll give you something big task. And designation. So let's say you have, like QTP and Selenium. Like if you are a tester, they'll just give you only testing activities, not the development activities. And coming to skills. Like if you know QTP, they will ask you to go ahead and do only QTP. If you know Selenium, they'll ask you to go ahead and work only on Selenium. It depends.
Okay.
Yeah. Now coming to your test plan. So what do you understand by test plan?
It's basically creating a strategic plan on how to map out the testing process.
Yes, test plan. See, whenever you join a project, I told you have to first request them for BRS, FRS and SRS documents. Am I right?
BRS, FRS, yes, business
FRS and
specific.
Yes, sir. So along with those BRS, FRS and SRS, you have to request for your test plan document also. You have to request for your test plan document. So during this phase, test lead along with the senior members in a project will be involving to design this test plan document. During this phase, test lead along with the senior members in a project will be involving to design this test plan document. So test plan document is nothing but it is a route map document or high level document for testing.
Okay.
Document is nothing but it is a route map document or high level document for testing. So this document defines like what to test, how to test, who has to test and when to test in a project. Okay? This
Okay.
defines like what to test, how to test, who has to test and when to test in a project. So test plan document will be in the format of a Word document. It will be in the form of a
Okay.
and it contains all the contents. So what are all the contents in test plan? What are all the contents in the test plan document?
So all the contents, it's gonna have the BRS, FRS,
Description.
and also
See here.
what we have.
No, not all, not those all. So these are all the contents that you have in the test plan document. So description, author, reviewed by, criteria, suspension criteria, resumption criteria, resources, features to be tested, features not to be tested, and then testing types to be performed, automation tools to be used, then technologies to be used, and then test strategy. So these are all the contents that you have in the test plan document. Now coming to the first one is a description. So what does this description contain? What does this description contain? Defines the brief description about the project. Defines the brief description about the project. That means for which project we are designing this test plan document, that project description we need to provide here in this content. Okay?
Right.
For which project we are designing this test plan document, that project description we need to provide here in this content. If you are preparing this document for Bank of America, that project description we have clearly mentioned here in this content. Okay? Next one is what? Author. Author means who has
The owner.
designed this document. So it designs the resources who has designed this document. So either your project manager or your client. So it defines the resources who has designed this document. So either your test lead or your project manager. Okay. Next one is what? Reviewed by. Reviewed by means
Who reviews the description or the test?
So who is going to review this? Either your project manager or your client is going to review this test plan document. Okay.
Okay.
Next one is what? Entry criteria. Entry criteria means it defines when to start the testing activities in the project. So we are going to start the testing activities as soon as we get the requirements in the form of
Those three documents.
Yes, BRS, FRS, and SRS documents from the business analyst. So that's the entry criteria. Exit criteria means what? It defines when to close or complete the testing activities in a project. When to close or complete the testing activities. So when are we going to close the testing activities? Only when we executed all the test cases, when all the defects are closed, then only we go ahead and do this exit criteria.
So what do we mention? What do we write in the exit criteria?
No, when your exit means what? When to stop. Am I right?
Oh,
When to stop the testing activities. When your application has an error like that, in such situations you will stop the application sometime.
okay.
Okay. Suspension. So suspension means
When to suspend the testing? When to suspend the testing?
when to stop or suspend the testing activity.
Testing.
When to stop or suspend the testing activity. So when we are going to suspend the testing activities?
If we find like a major flaw in the.
When you have like environment issues, like when your application is not opening or when it is not closing, or when you have like Java exception errors or null point exception errors or page not found, and when your application crashes, that means when your application is suddenly closing or hanging up.
Okay, so that's like a major issue.
Defects. Yes. When we face any critical defects, so in these all situations, you are going to suspend the testing activities in a project.
Okay.
Okay. And then now coming to resumption. Resumption means when you are going to resume the testing activities in a project. So we are going to resume. Resume means when you are going to continue the testing activities. So we can continue the testing activities only
after we resolve the previous issues that we mentioned.
When environment issues got resolved, when critical defects are fixed, and when exceptions got cleared, okay, when application crashes got resolved. So So in this all situations, you are going to resume the testing activities in a project. Okay. And then now coming to resources means it defines who is working in the project. Resources means whoever is working in a project, they are all the resources. So resources includes like offshore team, onshore team, business analyst, project manager, client. So these are all the resources. So whoever is working in a project, they are all the resources. Okay. Next one is what features to be tested. Features to be tested means which needs to be tested. So it defines the features or functionalities which we need to test in the project in the current release.
Right.
It defines the features or functionalities which we need to test in the project in the current release. That means it can be done in the future release, but right now it is not required. So features to be tested means whatever needs to be tested, that needs to be done here. Features not to be tested means clearly they will mention here what need not to be performed here.
Okay.
Now coming to testing types to be performed. So altogether we have different types of testings. Altogether
yes, the 26 types that we learned.
Yes, all the 26 types of testing clearly mentioned here in this types of testing. And the next one is automation tools to be used. Automation tools means what? Like Qt. These are all the automation tools. Okay.
Yes.
The next one is technologies. Technologies means like whether Java or .NET or mainframes. So this all comes under the technology. So developer will go ahead and use the technologies to develop the application. And the next one is test strategy. Test strategy means the process which we need to follow to complete the testing activities in a project. The process we need to follow to complete the testing activities in a project. So this test plan document is given to all the team members in a project. Not only to the testing team, they are given to all the team members in a project. That is test strategy. Okay, any questions until here?
Nope.
Okay, now next one is identifying the test scenarios. Identifying the test scenarios means during this phase, your senior members in a project will be involving to identify the test scenarios. Senior members in a project will be involving to identify this test scenario. So test scenario is nothing but it is a high level requirement which contains multiple sub requirements. Test scenario is nothing but it is a high level requirement which contains multiple sub requirements.
Okay.
So altogether you will have hundreds of requirements. All the hundreds of requirements you can go ahead and perform testing in a project, right? So they will identify only those scenarios which needs to be tested, which need not to be tested. They will be doing later on. So whatever they will identify, those scenarios only you have to go ahead and perform testing on the application. Okay.
Okay.
Is identifying the testable requirements. Identifying the testable requirements means
just identifying
senior members in a project will be involving to identify this testable requirements. That means which needs to be tested will be clearly mentioned here in this requirements. Okay, and the next one is test case design. Test case design means during this phase, testing team will be involving to design the test cases for the identified requirements. During this phase, testing team will be involving to design the test cases for the identified requirements. So test case means what? A sequential, elaborated and executable form of the requirement is called a test case.
Could you explain that again?
Test case means during this phase, testing team will be involving to design the test cases for the identified requirements. That means whatever the requirements have been identified, for those requirements, we are going to design the test cases. Test case, this is the main role of a testing team.
Right.
So, test case is nothing but a sequential, elaborated and executable form of the requirement is called a test case. A sequential, elaborated and executable form of the requirement is called a test case. Okay, so in every project we are getting the requirements in a shortcut format. We are getting the requirements in a short. So with that shortcut format of the requirement, it is very difficult for us to perform testing, and documentation is also not possible.
Okay.
Okay, documentation is also not possible. So that is the reason we are elaborating the shortcut form of the requirement in a step-by-step executable format, which is called as a test case. We are
Right.
elaborating the shortcut form of the requirements in a step-by-step executable format, which is called as a test case. So while elaborating the requirements in the form of a test case, we are following some techniques. To write the test cases, we have to follow some techniques. What are they? You call them as test case design techniques. What are the BVA and error guessing? BVA, ECP and error guessing. So boundary value analysis. ECP means equivalence class partition, and then error guessing. BVA, ECP and error guessing. Now coming to BVA, boundary value analysis. So what does that mean? BVA defines the range of the data.
Yes.
BVA defines the range of the data which we need to use to perform testing on the application. BVA defines
Okay.
the range of the data which we need to use to perform testing on the application. That means if any requirement is having the range of the data, then you have to perform BVA for that requirement. Range means what?
Okay.
Range means what? Username should accept only 20 characters. So that 5 to 20 is the range. Am I right?
Yes.
So whenever you see the range, then you are going to perform BVA for that requirement. So based on that BVA only, we are going to design the test cases. So there are 6 different classes available under this BVA. What are they? Minimum, maximum, minimum plus 1, minimum minus 1,
Maximum minus plus.
maximum minus 1, minimum, maximum, minimum plus 1, minimum minus 1, maximum plus 1 and maximum minus 1. Now coming to an example. Username should accept only 5 to 20 characters. So this 5 to 20 is the range. Am I right? So whenever you see the range, you have to perform BVA. So what you are going to do here now? Tell me.
So we will have to check it with like 5 characters, and then check it with 20 characters, then check it with 6 characters, check it with 4 characters, and then check it with 20 and 19.
Yes. So first one is a minimum. So here minimum is what? 5. Right? So whenever you give 5 characters, will the test case pass or fail?
It passes.
Very good. It will pass. Now maximum.
Yes.
Maximum is 20. So whenever you give 20 characters, definitely it will pass.
It will pass.
Minimum plus 1. Minimum plus 1 is 5 plus 1, which is 6. So it will
Yeah. Pass.
minimum minus 1. Minimum minus 1 is what? 5.
Fail.
It is 4. So whenever you give 4 characters, definitely it will fail. Maximum plus 1. Maximum plus 1 is 20 plus 1, which is
21.
so definitely it will
21.
fail. And maximum minus 1. Maximum minus 1 is
19.
9.
Will
Whenever you give 19 characters, definitely it will. You understand?
Yes.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So these are the classes that you have to follow whenever you see the range. Okay. 1 second. Okay. So whenever you see the range, then you have to perform these. Now coming to ECP. ECP means what? Equivalence class partition. ECP means equivalence class partition. That means it defines the type of the data. ECP defines the type of the data which we need to use to perform testing on the application. Which we need to use to perform testing on the application. That means if any requirement is having the type of the data.
Okay.
Requirement is having
Data
the
types. Okay.
type of the data, then we need to prepare ECP for that requirement. And based on ECP only, we are designing the test cases. So altogether we have two different classes available under the ECP. What are they? Valid and invalid.
Invalid data.
Valid and invalid. So now see here, username should accept alphabets. So what could be the valid and what could be the invalid now?
So alphabets are valid. Any numbers, symbols, or anything other than alphabets are going to be invalid.
It can be lowercase a to z, it can be uppercase a to z, or it can be the combination of both. Right? What could be the
It is
0 to 9?
0 to 9 special characters.
Spaces
Space.
from 0 to 9 and lowercase a to z, combination of 0 to 9 and uppercase a to z, combination of 0 to 9, lowercase a to z and uppercase a to z, right? So all the
So basically, the username has to have uppercase and lowercase.
you have it here, right? These are all the
But
username should accept only alphabets. That means it has to accept only alphabets. Invalid means
yeah, I understand that part, but I didn't understand the part in invalid, the last two.
invalid. So it should accept only alphabets. That means if it is accepting numerics with alphabets.
Oh, okay.
Numerics with alphabets. This is invalid. It has to accept only alphabets. Then why it is accepting numerics? Am I right?
Right.
Yes. So this can be like it can be the combination of lowercase a to z or uppercase a to z, or it can be the combination of both. Okay. So whenever you see the type, you have to perform ECP for that requirement. And now error guessing. Error guessing means the errors which we are expecting or guessing from the application as per the action we are performing on the application is called error guessing. It defines the errors which we are expecting or guessing from the application as per the actions we are performing on the application is called error guessing. Example, what is that? User can successfully register by entering name, address, city and click on register button, and the respective error message appears when user forget the field. Okay, user can successfully register by entering name, address, city and click on register button, and the respective error message should appear when user forget the field. So this is error guessing. Okay, so what are the actions that you are going to perform and what is the error message that you are going to guess? What are the actions that you are going to perform and what is the error message that you are going to guess? So first one is what? See here. Enter name, address, city and click on register. Name, address, city and click on. So will you get any error?
No, no error.
No error. So no error. Next one.
You forget one of the field.
Yes. So what will be the error here?
City is missing. Okay.
message should appear.
Right.
Okay, and then next one is what? Enter name, city, and on register. So
Address is mandatory. Error message should appear.
error message should appear. Okay, and the next one is what? Enter city
Address, city.
on
You
register.
can click on
So here name is
mandatory.
mandatory. Error message should appear.
Appear.
The next one is what? Just click on register.
Register.
Click on register. So what is that?
Name, address, and city are mandatory.
Mandatory. Error message should
Appear.
appear. Okay, so this is how we are going to write the error guessing. So this is how we are going to guess the error. Okay, any questions until here? So tomorrow we will start writing cases. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So any questions? You are asking something?
No, that's all. Is it possible for you to send me the Word document so that I'm trying to get down?
Definitely, I will go ahead and send you. And tomorrow, I am not sure I will be available or not. I will drop you an email if I am not available. Okay.